If you're planing wood and it's not going the way that you want it to, you might want to stop and look at the shaving coming off that hand plane. Because a lot of the time, the information that you need is right here. Your shaving can also help you read a board and find the high and low spots. I'm going to take a shaving right here along this edge. Now, you might have seen what happened there. My plane sort of jumped forward all of a sudden. And I know that what I'm going to see here is an interrupted shaving. Here's one piece, and then here's another piece. My shaving stopped and started again. And there's only one explanation for that. My board has a low spot right around here. The shaving tells me where I need to correct. I need to flatten here and here to get down to this low spot. Then I'll get a continuous shaving. It's the same thing when you're jointing an edge. Let's take a long shaving. So it's the same thing that I was getting on the flat board earlier. My shaving is interrupted. It's in pieces, and you could see the plane skip as I was moving through. That means I have low spots along this edge. Now, correcting those low spots won't necessarily give me a perfect joint, but if I have little places where the plane isn't cutting, I'm definitely going to get little gaps in my glue up. Getting a continuous shaving all along your edge is an essential part of getting a good joint. When we're planing the surface of a board, we want a smooth, clean finish, but sometimes we get lines in the surface. We call these plane tracks, and they mean the plane is not set up correctly. I'm getting tracks as I plane this board, and I need to look at the shaving to figure out why. Okay. This is super obvious what's going on. You can tell the shaving is very straight and has a crisp edge over here, and then it feathers away to nothing on top. That means this plane is out of lateral adjustment. The iron is tilted a little bit, so this corner is biting all the way in. That corner is what's giving me this perfect straight edge. You really don't want that when you're doing a surface. You want this feathery look right here. I've only got that on one side, so this plane needs the iron adjusted until it's perfectly straight. Here's a correctly set iron. This plane has beautiful lateral adjustment and a correctly cambered iron. You can see the shaving is nice and thick right in the middle. I'm taking a nice smooth pass. What's important is the edges here. See the way it feathers away to nothing, and the shaving has kind of a ragged quality on both edges. That means that camber is giving me a good shaving right here, but then it fades away to nothing at the edges. That's going to give me a smooth overlap in between strokes and a nice finished surface. Your shaving can also tell you if your chip breaker is set the proper distance from the edge. A lot of people set their chip breaker too far back. If it's back even a 1/16 of an inch from the edge of the iron, it's really not doing anything. And it's easy to tell when your chip breaker is too far away. I've got this one set back too far, and let's take a shaving. That made a perfect little curl, and it's fun to see these, but when the shaving curls up super tightly like this, that's when the chip breaker really isn't touching the shaving. It's not really doing anything, and it's not going to help us fight tear out. Let's try it again with the chip breaker set closer. See what happened right there? See the way the shaving came up out of the plane? Let me do it again. That's a perfect one. The shaving shot up out of the plane. It didn't just all curl up and stay inside. Of course it curls somewhat, shavings always do, but when it shoots up that way, that tells you the chip breaker is really hitting that shaving and interrupting it and keeping it from making that smooth curl. When you have the chip breaker set close like that, it's really going to fight tear out. At the end of your workday, you can actually see the history of everything that you've done and how well your plane was set up just looking right on the floor. Here's a perfect shaving. It feathers out on the edges, so I know it wasn't digging in. It's nice and wide, and it's not all curled up. It has that sort of wavy quality. Tells me my chip breaker was set far enough back from the edge. Here's another one. Good shavings can look more than one way, but here's another one. It's not curled too tightly. It feathers away at the edges. It's nice and light. This was a great finishing cut. It probably left a great surface behind. You could miss this one if you weren't paying attention, but this is actually a whole shaving left over from edge jointing, and I can tell by the way it curls up, I had my chip breaker set too far away from the edge of the iron. That's okay for edge jointing, but if I was doing a surface, this would have been set too closely, and I would have gotten a little bit of tear out. Of course, it's easy to get way too caught up looking at the shavings and forget about what really matters, the surface of the wood. So I don't want people to message me saying, Rex, my shavings are much too curly. What do I do about that? That doesn't matter unless you're getting tear out. Then you might want to think about how close your chip breaker is set to the edge of your iron. It's really easy to start looking at shavings and forget that we're going to throw those away at the end of the day. We need to pay attention to the wood. If you're happy with what you're getting, don't spend any time examining your shavings. They don't matter. But if you're having problems and you can't figure out why, your shavings might have the information to help you fix those problems. And I hope this video was a little guide to help you with that. Another thing I've been enjoying a lot recently is the app Furnitology. It's a really interesting resource for woodworkers. It's got articles and blog posts. It's got a community breakdown of recent YouTube videos. It's a lot of fun. It's a good place to learn, and you can join for free. They've published a few of my blog posts recently, but aside from that, we have no commercial relationship. Nobody's paying me to say this. I just like the app. So you can check it out and join for free. We will leave a link down in the description. Patreon.com/Rex Krueger. I only get to make these videos because of my patrons. I appreciate them more than I could ever say, and I give them a lot of rewards to thank them for their help. If you'd like to get some of those rewards, go on over to patreon.com/Rex Krueger and check out what we offer for the people who make these videos possible. And of course, we also really appreciate our viewers. Thanks so much for watching.